Hello and welcome to Faithfully Stampin' with Jennifer Helm. I am Jennifer Helm, the Faithful Stamper, and I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. I have for you today a sketch card, a layout design. I borrowed this from a friend. She is a fellow demonstrator up in New York, and we copy and share everything. We case cards, and that's one of the things I love the best about being a demonstrator with Stampin' Up. And so she shared this design, just a basic sketch, and I thought, you know what, this new paper, these new online exclusives from Stampin' Up would be perfect to showcase with this sketch layout. So here we go. This features the Simply Zinnia, I believe there's a couple ways to say that, but that's how I pronounce it, stamp set and matching dies. So this is an online exclusive. It cannot be found in the catalog, simply online. So just hop to thefaithfulstamper.stampinup.net and look at the online exclusives tab. You will see a lot of products from that online exclusive page in samples tonight. So here are the stamps, and there's dies and other things as well that we'll talk about a little bit later, but I am going to show you how to make this card. Let me show you the inside. It's a great way to use pieces of designer series paper. It would also be very easy to mass produce these. And I always love cards that I can make more than one card at a time. I think I could make these for a week and be happy. I really wanted to keep playing with the paper. So to start, I have a card base of Melon Mambo. This is 8.5 by 5.5, scored down the middle at 4 1/4. And I'm just gonna fold it in half, but then I'm gonna set it to the side. Now, it's up to you how you want to do these cards. One way that you can do them is you can build your card front right on the card itself, but I prefer to build it on a separate panel and then bring it over. Now, I started to get a piece of cardstock like I would use for the inside of the card. This is 5 1/4 by 4, but then I thought, you know what? I don't really need to use a whole piece of cardstock. Let me use a piece of copy paper. So I'm gonna build the front of my card on this piece of copy paper because I'm just gonna cover it up and glue the whole thing to the front anyway. And that way I'm saving just a little bit of weight, and we all know how expensive stamps are these days, so I'm saving a little bit of an ounce maybe. So let's start building our front panel. To start, I have a piece of our beautiful zinnia paper. This is 2.5 inches wide by 5 1/4 inches tall. Make sure if you have directional paper that you're going in the right direction. And for this one, the backside is this beautiful purple I'm going to show you in a minute. I'm just going to decide which way I want my card, which edge I want facing out. I think I want that one facing out. So no special glue needed here. Just use your favorite, provided it works. I am using Stamping Seal. And let's see. I'd like to turn my paper sideways when I glue. I'm just going to match up these corners on my DSP to my piece of copy paper here. And if I didn't mention it, it's cut to 5 1/4 by 4. That's what size the front of the card, that panel, is going to be. Next up, I'm going to add another panel of designer series paper. This is 1.5 inches wide by 5 1/4 inches tall. This one is a more subtle tone on tone here. And I have to double check and make sure I've got the florals going in the right direction. And then I'm going to glue this here on the other side. Again, matching up my edges. By doing this, this is just so much easier to move this whole thing over to the card front when I'm ready. And I honestly could just put this on the card front, but I want to cover up the seam. Sometimes things aren't quite as neat and tidy as this. So the reverse side of this is that purple I showed you. So I have a little strip that's just 1/2 inch wide by 5 1/4 inches tall. Almost too narrow for my stamp and seal, but it works if I'm careful. And so here I'm just going to cover up the seam. You can either put it right in the center, or you can kind of, as long as you're covering that seam, work it one way or the other. Now, something to keep in mind when you are putting together your panel, here I use 3 pieces of DSP. You don't have to use all DSP. You could use DSP and plain cardstock, embossed cardstock, stamp cardstock, mix and match. You're going to see a lot of options in the samples I'm going to show you in just a little bit. So have fun, experiment. And that's what the sketch cards and the layouts are for, to show you different ideas that you can use. So now I'm ready to put this, not fling it across the table, put it on my card front. So back to the stamp and seal. Oop, am I gonna make it? Maybe, maybe not. I can see that red. I think I'm gonna run out. Oop, probably on the next thing I have to glue on here. All right, so here is my card base. This is gonna be the front. And this just gets put here, like so. Now we're gonna work on what I call the focal point, which is this piece here. So to start, I'm going to bring over a piece of scrap paper. You'll see why in a minute. And I have a piece of basic white that is 2 1/4 by 3. This is what I'm gonna stamp on and then accent to go on the front of our card. So I have Melon Mambo ink and the large floral stamp from the Simply Zinnia set. I am so impressed with this stamp set. I knew it was gonna be pretty just looking at this, but I was so impressed when I put ink on it. And with a big stamp like this, I like to bring my ink to it most of the time. And then the stamp is larger than I need, which is why I brought over that piece of scrap paper. Look how crisp and clean that is. I just marveled at it. I really thought it was beautiful. And the other single zinnia in the stamp set is just as gorgeous when you stamp it. So while I have this beautiful stamp out, I'm gonna do a couple more things. First of all, if you've been here before on the channel, you know I do not like naked envelopes. So I'm just gonna stamp the zinnia again and add them to my envelope, just like so. Again, isn't that gorgeous? Oh, love it. And then one more time, that piece of cardstock I didn't use on the front, I'm using on the inside. This is my insert. It's 5 1/4 by 4. And this time I'm going to aim for the bottom corner here, like that. And then I'm going to grab a different color of ink. I'm going to go pull out this purples. I think I can move this out of the way now. My sentiment, this is a birthday card. It's from the Charming Sentiments. Woo, sorry. I get so excited to move the whole table. Charming Sentiments stamp set. Lots of different words in there. It is photopolymer, so hopefully I won't be sorry I didn't bring over my Stampin' mat. Yay! Isn't that gorgeous? I just love the handwriting there. Okay. So that is the inside of my card. I'm gonna let that sit for just a minute and come back to our little white panel here. I'm going to layer it on some gorgeous grape. This is 5 1/2 by 3 1/4. So if you want a narrower margin, just adjust accordingly. You could even make a broader margin. You can triple layer if you want, just add another 1/4 inch. I did that on a card you'll see a bit later here. So here we go. That tape is hanging in. We'll see if I can make it or not. All right, so that's layered together while I'm here. Nope, there we go. Just ran out, almost made it. So let me grab my Stampin' Seal Plus for the finish. So here is my insert. And now I can put together the front of the card. One thing though, so here is my panel, my focal point. I am normally a straight lace, plain Jane, you know, just, I don't know, call me boring maybe. I like straight up and down when I put my panels together. It's very hard for me to skew things. And so this would be perfectly lovely, but this sketch really works if you tilt that focal point. You can tilt it as much as you want. You can give it a big tilt. You can give it a little tilt, whatever, you know, put it straight up and down, whatever floats your boat. But what I learned for the very first card that I made was I want to put a little hello on the front of the card here. And I put the card together without that the first time, and then I was sorry because I had to kind of squeeze it in. So what I'm going to do, I decided to go with Highland Heather so it stands out a little bit more. It pops a little more with this paper. I want to see, do I want to put it at the top? I think I'm going to put it at the bottom. I'm probably going to trim this down a little bit, but I like to know where I'm going to put it before I get going here. So I just have this little piece of Highland Heather. It's about 1/2 inch tall. It's going to fit my hello, and boy, oh boy, am I rearranging the table tonight. Sorry about that. So here's my hello. This piece of paper is bigger than I need, but that's okay. I've got my handy paper trimmer. So I'm just going to trim this piece really quick so it's the right size. It just doesn't want to come over here. So I'm going to put dimensionals on the backs of these pieces. I'm using mini dimensionals tonight. So I'm just going to put one on each of the 4 corners and one in the middle. Don't want that panel to sag since it's so pretty with that stamped image on it. So once the dimensional backings come off and unstick themselves from my finger, I'll take the backing off of these 2 as well. What I'm going to do to make my life a little easier is I'm going to start with my little hello, and I'm going to put it right here at the bottom, like that. Didn't want to cover up that pretty flower either. But then I can come back in here and put my focal piece on, and then I'm happy with how it is, and I didn't have to squeeze it anywhere. So you can see just the difference in these cards just with the slight variation in the paper. Just to finish this off, I want to add a little bit of bling. These are our adhesive-backed sequins. I have one that's trying to get away here. All right, so I decided I'm going to go with orange to kind of pull out the orange. So I'm taking my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm just going to add a couple sequins to the card front here. And I think for this one, let's see. There we go. I think I'll keep them all there on the stamped image. So beautiful, ready to go. Very simple and easy. Okay, so I wanted to show you. Here's another version just where the paper's a little bit different, so I popped it with pink, changed up the color of my bling. But you can see how easily these come together. Beautiful design. And I had a lot of fun playing with this paper. So I wanted to show you, here is one of the straight narrow versions versus the tilt. Here I chose to leave my sentiment off, and I just went with the birthday on the inside. But this paper is so beautiful. I would absolutely love to get one of these in the mail. So bright and cheery. And these panels are actually another piece of the paper. So you saw 3 in our first card here. And then here are 2 more. Another big floral, orange, all the colors. Here's Blackberry Bliss, come from the paper. But there's a beautiful panel of paper. It's actually 12 by 12 paper. And if you cut it down the middle at 6, you get a panel which is made up of this piece, minus the writing, and this piece. So you can kind of see how I put them together without using them as a big piece on the front of the card. Here I added some ribbon, and I stamped directly on there. And then one final piece to this suite is a beautiful embossing folder. I mentioned how you can mix and match with embossing cardstock as well. And look at that zinnia folder. Beautiful. So just another option for you. This is Berry Burst as opposed to the brighter pink with the Melon Mambo. But look, both beautiful cards, both very different in layout and design. as far as the paper goes and the pieces I put together. A little bit of shiny ribbon there. So there is our online exclusive Simply Zinnia set. Now, as I mentioned, those online exclusives are online only, but if you would like a paper catalog for all the things that are in our catalog, just let me know and I'd be happy to get you one. Now, our next online exclusive is our Pets and More. I am pairing it with our Doggone Friendly background stamp. This is in the Spring Mini, which is good through the end of April. This is our online exclusive, so it's got the 5 different animals. I love that there's a fox and a bird in there too, along with the cat and the dog and the bunny. Some cute little accent stamps you're going to see here in just a minute. And we have another online stamp set. This is called Comforting Thoughts. It's photopolymer, and it's kind of a sad set, but sometimes you have cards but you want to send but you're struggling a little bit for the words, and this stamp set kind of covers that. Cancer sucks. We all know it does. I don't have all the right words to say. Hope this is a feeling better kind of day. Wishing you comfort. So it kind of goes sympathy, thinking of you. I'm here for you. There is no good card for this. Sometimes you want to send a person a card, but you're not sure what's appropriate. There you go. We've got you covered. So I never really thought about this for pet sympathy, but it works. So here, I took a stamped panel, and I have 2 versions, one straight up and down and one with a tilt, as I'm calling it, where I stamped a 5 1/4 by 4 piece of basic white with that background stamp, that Doggone Friendly. And then I cut it, and I used half on this card and half on this one. Embossed cardstock for the narrow strip and DSP. Fussy cut the dog, added a little bit of matte dots. And then there you go. And I can send just a thinking of you card to someone who's lost their fur baby. Sadly, I've had to send a couple of these in the last few weeks. And of course, I can accent my envelopes with the little paw print stamps. And since we're talking about dogs, we can't forget those kitty cat fur babies either. So one of our online exclusives is a set of embossing folders, and here they are featured on these cards. So here I have one kind of more of a geometric design, and the other one here is a floral design. These are narrow. They are not 3D. Those are thicker, but these fit in these small baby cut and emboss machines, but very, very handy. So you can't do a large panel with these, but they work great for pieces like this. And here you can see both of them. And so here is our cat version. And then I wanted to use the animals, but I didn't want them to be sad, so I made an Easter card. And so here is our little Easter bunny. So enjoy all the little moments. This one again, just with DSP. Happy Easter on the inside. And then here I used some dragonflies. I'm going to show you these, and I'll talk about them in a minute with one of the other card samples. All right, so now we're going from animals to coffee. Now, I know not everybody's a coffee drinker. I myself am not a super serious coffee drinker. I'm a fussy coffee drinker. But we have a beautiful new stamp set called Latte Love. It's got a beautiful mug, the top shot here, and you can stamp either one of the barista arts right here in the mug. There's coffee beans, your coffee splatter, your coffee rings. So lots there. There is a matching die set. Lots of pieces. There's an espresso machine, all sorts of things in here. I'm not even sure what these little pieces do yet. I have to look at that. Actually, I bet these might be, I bet this cuts out this coffee, and I bet this one, maybe you can put something in these mugs. I bet that's what that's for. All right, so anyway, these are part of our coffee set. You're going to see DSP in just a minute. And then here are our lovely gems that go with that. They're not exactly sparkly gems, but I love these. They have just a touch of color on them, and I think they're beautiful. These are my favorite right now, I think. Okay, so here is our first design, and you will notice I shifted orientation on these. As long as you're careful how you cut the paper, this layout does work in the horizontal orientation. Now you will see in these next couple samples, I kind of took away that rectangular focal point and added my own. I kind of branched out a little bit. So here I've got the coffee mug and a smaller tag. And since I used This One's On Me, it's perfect for a gift card holder. I added a little pocket here. I can just tuck a gift card in once I'm ready to send it. Here's my little coffee bean accent. I really, for not being much of a coffee drinker, I definitely probably would not drink espresso, but I love this designer series paper. Look at the little coffee mugs, isn't that cute? So here I just used some deckled rectangles. I embossed this one and stamped on this one. Added some of those little gems. Added a coordinating strip. There's your coffee splatter on the inside and the outside. And here we go. Here's another one. Here I layered 3 of the rectangles, stamped and colored this one, and have my little row of marching coffee beans across the bottom. I could have made these all day. And so here's the final latte sample. Again, just layered rectangles, added some die cuts, and there we go. So really fun thank you cards there. All right, so last but not least, I have an online exclusive. This one has been around for a little bit, but I actually just put ink on it for the first time today, and I think cut the paper for the first time too. So this is our Garden Meadow photopolymer set. Definitely springy. I love these little birds. There is a coordinating die set. I love these arches. I can't believe I haven't used them yet. You can die cut a fence, you can cut out the fence, you can outline the shapes once you stamp them, and there's absolutely gorgeous paper here. So it's very hard for me to cut this paper. That's my problem. I need to love it and chop it, not love it and hoard it. So here we go. I used our beautiful shape dies. And again, back to that vertical orientation. Here are those embellishments I mentioned earlier from the Easter card. These are little dragonflies on this card. A couple of sympathy cards. These came together so easily. I just embossed strips of cardstock and then used the paper to do the talking here. And then I did 2 of these as well. Again, more beautiful shapes. Here I used our brush butterflies, but those dragonflies are paired with 2 different kinds of birds. And this is so simple. It's just paper and a couple of flat embellishments. I love that these embellishments are flat. They won't get caught in the mail. We know those machines like to eat our embellishments. So there you go. And just absolutely simple but elegant card. I hate to send sympathy cards, but when I send them, I want them to be beautiful and really speak to the people and let them know that I care about them. All right, so thank you so much for checking out this video and seeing this fun layout design featuring all our online exclusives here in 2024. If you are not a subscriber here, I would love you to become one and have you as part of my community. You can check the notification bell and it'll give you a little ding each time I post a video here on the page, which is typically once a week. You can follow me over on Facebook. I am The Faithful Stamper. I post contests from time to time, weekly videos there as well, and other announcements that Stampin' Up! Puts out. So I'd love to have you there as part of my Faithful Stamper community. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and happy crafting.